So welcome back. I am going to get this part put in. As you can see, I've got a piece here that I got cut to the right length. And while I was thinking about this, I thought that I may have to somehow secure it in place so that, I could just come back in and glue it. But as you can see, all I have to do is more or less snap it in place. So I think if I do this, I can then come around with the Plastruck bonding and just touch up these ones that it's going to touch. Now, unfortunately, you can't, it fell out. Okay, so you can see there, right there in the middle, those two are a little shorter than some of the others. And there's a few that are shorter than others. So that's a problem. Now, had I had something like, you can get this tool called a chopper, and it's got a little stop on it. It's very much like a um, miter saw that you might have that you could set a stop on it and always cut the same length. Had I had something like that, I would have been able to take care of that, but we'll just have to make do with what we can. If I have to, I'll hold this down in the middle there to get it to set up. As it is, I'm going to have to hold this end down to there. You probably can't see that because my big old meat hooks are in the road. I'll probably have to hold this end down so it'll touch here, and then try to get this end be a bit more parallel because it was kind of up in the air a little bit, but that's okay. So I got that set up ready to go. I also took one of these other pipes. This is actually the piping that goes under here. So these were the ones out of my brother's set, and I took those. One of them I cut. That's going to be this pipe that goes along here, the silver one. And so I took the other one and cut it to length. Unfortunately, what I thought was the right length wasn't the right length, and I cut a tad bit too much off. So I added a little chunk at the bottom and kind of curved it in like it's going someplace else. So we can see that this will fit in there quite nicely. So yeah, so that's going to be good. What I did was I just took my lighter, and now, unlike the really small stuff that I was using before for like the wires and stuff, when I melted and bent those, when I melt these, as long as I was very slow with melting it, it bent pretty well. But if I got to be a bit too aggressive, it kind of started to swell up, and you can see here that one kind of swelled up a little bit. And it actually seemed to shrink, and I think that's one of the reasons why it wasn't the right length, because I was fairly confident I had plenty of length. I was thinking that I may have to cut a little bit, and I was wrong. So, but that's okay. I put this little curved bit on there, and I'm okay with that. In fact, I'm even okay with the color being a little bit rough right there. That doesn't really bother me too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on the outside first and get all of that ready to go. And then what I'm going to do is get this whole thing primed. I think I may go ahead and fill in these gaps or something with a little bit of putty and clean those up. But I'm going to prime this whole thing and then paint these parts that I need to get painted. This is either going to be maybe an off-white or something like that. I may go ahead and use this tan. If you recall, this was this kind of tannish color. I may go ahead and use that. I don't know. I'll just have to play around with it. But these will be hand painted for sure. These parts here will be silver, I think. And then of course that pipe that goes along here will be silver. I'm probably going to adjust fire a little bit on these pipes that go in here. So after looking at the picture again, I think there's really only there's the one big pipe, I think. And I think it's going to be kind of a rusty color with a red stripe. I don't know. That's what I want to do. Let me put the picture here, and I'm going to blow up that corner. So as you can see what I'm talking about, there's also a thin pipe back behind here. It's white with the blue and red stripe that I'm going to put in. So I'll have the silver on the outside, the really small thin pipe that goes along here with the blue and red stripe, and then we'll put the big pipe in the back. I have I had some braided wire that I'm going to put in through here. I've got it primed right now. I might just leave it primed, and but I've got the red wire that I had that went over the med bay thing. Um, I'm going to kind of twist that around it, and I think I'm going to pull some of the cabling that comes out through here and here, much like the picture, just to add a little bit of stuff. And then the very final thing will be trying to figure out what else to do on this wall. I have not even come close to figuring anything out there yet. I might just, you know, have to have a wild, crazy dream that gives me inspiration or something. I don't know. But regardless, let's get moving. I've talked long enough about what I've done and what I plan on doing and all that kind of fun stuff. Now it's time for some doing. So let's go ahead, and I want to get this put back in here where it's going to go. And so if we kind of pull it to this side, it kind of gets this side kind of fit in there more accurately. And I can always, like I said, pull that side down. And I may have to wait and glue that part in after the fact. But one of the things I want to do is make sure that this is kind of lined up correctly. Okay, so here we go. We have that in place. I'm going to set this down nice and gentle. So anyway, this part will be put in after all this gets painted, because I want it to be maybe a different color or something. So let's just go ahead and get going with this. So I'm just going to... This bonding doesn't do quite as much as everybody makes it out that it does. I expected that to just like lock up. And it works pretty good because like this stuff is pretty secure, but like I've always been told that this stuff is like it sets up really fast and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not seeing it. That might be a little bit too much. So it's supposed to melt it. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm blowing on it, trying to get it to set up a little bit. And it did not. Oh, it did kind of. Whatever's left over, I can fill in, patch in with some putty. It kind of melted a little bit, I think. I can patch in with some putty. And I'll worry about this one after I get a piece of trim up through there. So what we got to do is figure out how long it needs to be That's like the $1,000,000 question, right? Well, let's just kind of well, ballpark it a little bit and see if this fits in there. And if we have to, we can trim it back. But I think I'll try to force it in there, and then we'll use this bonding to hold it in place. Okay, there we go. Got that part done. Okay, so I'm just going to touch up some of this stuff with some putty, and hopefully I don't ruin it by doing that, but we're just going to try to fill in a little bit with some putty, like these small little creases here. Those, let's see if you guys can see those. Focus. There we go. See those little creases down there at the bottom? And then you can see this one here. And that might be the only one. Thought there might have been another one over through here. That one there, definitely. And yeah, so we'll just do a little bit of putty work with those. Very minor. And after all that's done, I will get this primed. I'm only going to prime this side because we still have to build the wall here. I'm going to basically build it very similar to what I did with the other one. The only difference is I'm going to have to make the floor, which won't be a big issue, but the other problem is this part's curved. So, but I'm going to leave this, I'm just going to build the wall over to here, and I may just use this as part of the other wall, and maybe, I don't know, put a piece up through here or something. I can always use, for like this, I can always use like a piece of this little angle piece that I made as part of the wall there, if I wanted to. But I'll definitely be using this to help secure it to the walls there. So I need to figure out how big of a space I need. But I'll get that primed. And when we come back, this will be primed, and we'll either have it already painted or I'll get it painted, and we'll go from there. Welcome back, everybody. So we've done a little bit of work here. Let's see what we've accomplished. So if I can get this thing out. I've done some hand painting. I got to finish this up. So I painted this. This is going to be the hose that is going to go back behind here. So I just got to paint this last little bit here, and then that will be able to go in. I painted this pipe here with silver, about 3 different coats of silver. It was gray, I believe, before. I just got to clean this little bit up, and this is from just, I was gripping it in my, what do they call it, the glad hands, or not glad hands, that's a trailer thing, helping hands, the little helping hands thing. That's this little stand here. So just a little bit of paint ran down the bottom, which is fine because this part will go down inside of the that hole I drilled, and so that'll give me a little. Now that I've sanded that off, it'll give me a little bit more a gluable space. So again, that's going to sit like that. So we'll finish painting this. I painted this. This outside part was rust, and then I made almost a pink. It's just a light red. This is gonna go back behind here, and I'm going to get my daughter's little markers. They're blue and the red again, so I can do the blue and red stripe on that, and that'll go back behind here. But so I did all that off camera, and I also have this here as well. So this is just a what do you call it? Just some braided wire that I had, and I'm just gonna kind of twist this around it, and this will go back behind here. And all I painted this with was primer, so I didn't actually paint this. But I'll just put this back behind here somehow, and hope that it kind of helps fill the gap. Just wanted to give something there, so it'll go back in there just to fill it in a little bit and all that kind of fun stuff. And then we'll kind of go from there. So what I want to do right now, I got you kind of caught up with where I'm at. Wrong brush. Let's go. Let's see if we can do this without using a micro brush. So like I said, this is not my strong suit for sure. Okay, so there we go so far. What do you think? Um, Obviously, I got a little bit outside the lines. Hopefully, I can touch that up without too much problem. I've started the second coat here. I'm gonna do a second coat on the outside of this ladder. I don't think I'm gonna do a second coat on the inside because you're not gonna really see a whole lot of it. I just wanted to make sure that I covered up any of the dark on the inside of the ladder, and we'll just make sure we get the outside with the second coat there. So let's go ahead and finish up this second coat and see how it turns out. All right, there we go. So I'm going to definitely need to clean that brush. Looks like, I don't know if you can see that. You got a little bit of crusties built up there. You can kind of see that a little bit. Let me hold this up here. So I should be able to kind of clean up where I went astray. I can just use this paint here, the German gray, and just touch those up very faintly. Just have to be nice and careful. I think it came out pretty good. It definitely stands out, which is one of the things I really like. I wanted it to stand out quite a bit. I don't know if I talked about this, so I did find some parts to put up here, and so what I did was I went ahead and masked where I'm going to be gluing them down. Hopefully, slightly smaller than their actual footprint. So let's have a look at. You can see those, and let's show you. Oh, here they are. I forgot I had painted them. Come here. There we go. So we could actually put these on now, I think. Should be able to. So let me clean this brush. When I come back, we'll put these parts on. That is on there. There you go. So I mentioned I had a pipe. So this pipe will fit into here, and then I'll have to drill a hole in the floor there, and that'll go in there. I don't believe. Oh, there is a pipe that goes on there. It's not the same pipe. I used a different pipe. But so anyway, I made it. I found a nice straight line piece. Actually, I think the pipe that I used is this one right here. That one there. Um, and I just used the bottom part where the elbow's over. So that's going to go into there, and like I said, we'll drill a hole in, but we'll wait to glue that in until then. And I left this the natural color. It's slightly different than this piece. I'll probably come back and maybe do some dry brushing or something on this, kind of dirty it up a little bit. But yeah, these are the same color as those, so um, yeah, it gives you a nice little contrast to those things. So I think we'll call that good for now. Um, Not the end of this episode. Hopefully, we'll see how the time works out. I'm going to try to finish this up um, on this episode if I can. So if that means I have to do some off camera and speed up the stuff, then I will. But hopefully you guys like how that's coming out so far. I still have to build the wall back here, um, the little cubby, and fill in these two things with the piping and all that, and then finally glue these in, which these can actually be glued in anytime. So those should be ready to go. All right, perfect. I'm going to come back when I have started building this wall and whatnot, and also finished hand painting some of these parts like this piece here and whatnot. So, okay, so I had a slight change of plans, and um, I'm not going to be able to finish this video after I edited what I had. So we're going to go into a second video, or I guess a fourth video for this issue. So I did want to finish up some stuff on this one before we moved on to the next video. So we're going to go ahead and get these put into place. So that'll be nice. I won't bore you with painting this on screen, but that'll get painted for sure. And I did decide that this is the pipe that's going to go in here. It really is close enough to being the same that I wanted something a little bit different. So I think what I might do is maybe either paint some lines on here, or maybe I'll throw some silver on it to make it a little bit more metallic or something like that. But that is going to get touched up a little bit. Maybe I'll just make it a darker gray or something. Something like this gray. You can see the two differences there. So it'd be a darker gray. So maybe I'll go with something like that. But for now, let's just go ahead and get these mounted. And before we get going, I wanted to say Happy Independence Day to all of my American friends out there. I want to say happy belated Canada Day to anyone in Canada who happens to be watching. And just happy summer to everyone in the Northern Hemisphere, and happy winter to everyone in the Southern Hemisphere. So happy, happy, happy. Yeah. So today is the 4th of July, and so I did want to get a little bit done today before I go out and start celebrating with family and friends. So that's why I'm in here doing this right now. So we're going to get these mounted. And one of the reasons why I wanted to record today was because of it being the 4th of July, and I wanted to have something out there. Not that this is going to be posted then, but I wanted to make sure that I recorded something so I could officially wish everybody a happy 4th. Happy Independence Day. Happy birthday to America. And also I wanted to kind of give that update because once I get this part done here, I'll go ahead and finish this video, get it edited and whatnot so I can get it posted, and then we can get started on the next one. And so one of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and do a fourth episode of um, this issue is because I feel like building this wall and finishing, building out this cubby and finishing this wall, I didn't really want to rush it, and I thought maybe I didn't show a lot of building the wall on this other one, and so I thought I might show a little bit more on here. So that's kind of my reasoning behind that. So um, So this, we can put the glue on the back side, and because that's how it's going to get glued on. And I'm still going to do, obviously, I'm going to still do some stuff off camera, like painting the pipes and all that kind of stuff. But I did want to spend a little bit of time showing the process for doing the wall itself. So that was my thinking on there, my reasoning. And yeah, there we go. Not too bad. Didn't even glue my fingers to anything. So there's that. Yeah, like I said, this part is going to be short and quick because, I basically just did what I was going to do. And I think we'll call that an end to this video. And we'll move on to the next one uh, shortly after this. Like I said, I'll do a little bit of the off-camera stuff like painting this, finishing up the painting on that. And incidentally, this color here almost matches this natural color there. That's kind of interesting. But that's fine because, like I said, this part will be up in there. So I feel like that's going to sit in there really nice and really fill in that space pretty well. And just happened to be pure coincidence that when I melted it, it came out to that type of a shape. I didn't even have to really shape it at all. So there you go. That is the end of that. And I want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you guys have any comments, thoughts, harassments about my wonderfully horrible painting job or what have you, let me know. Post a comment in the comment section. And yeah, so thank you very much, everybody. Have a great summer and a happy 4th of July. And may the force be with you always.